Judica County is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law, your law firm for life.
Judica County Radio, your host, Josh Whitaker. Joe Hamer, managing partners, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. Office is located Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay Varina, Gastonia, and Morehead City. And the gentlemen are practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. And the motto is your law firm for life, Whitaker and Hamer. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate. We are right in the middle of a question and answer program. So, Josh, where are we heading next?
Well, before we get to our next mystery question, I was just gonna comment on that. You know, we use that slogan for the law firm, your law firm for life, because the way that we set up our firm, we're predominantly in smaller towns. We do have a Raleigh office, but we set up our firm to be able to help someone through anything that might come up in like a normal person's life, right? So we've got our folks who help with traffic and criminal, you know, if that kind of thing comes up for you. We've got our estate planning folks that we talk about a lot. We've got our real estate folks. We've got our litigation folks, you know, so closings, wills, traffic tickets, you know, contracts. If you ever get in an auto accident, we've got our personal injury guy with us. And so
you got it covered. You got it covered.
That's our goal. There's some things that may happen to you that we can help you with. And normally we have the resources, and we know a lot of other firms in the area who can.
And we'll give you moral support.
That's right. Well, but we're here to help. You know, I was in a consult earlier today where this is like the fourth or fifth time that I've had a chance to help this guy and his family with just the kind of things that a normal family would kind of go through. And so, you know, that's kind of why we do that. And that's why kind of when me and Joe sit down and answer these mystery questions, we kind of got a broad base to kind of talk about these things, because we see a lot of stuff, you know, we see a lot of things, and we deal with a lot of things. And so we spent the last segment talking about basically the probate process and how it can be avoided in a lot of, you know, sometimes there's things you can't avoid, but you can usually draft your way around of the probate process with a good estate plan. And this is an estate question too. This is our mystery question for this segment. But the question is, how do I ensure that my kids don't get their entire inheritance when they turn 18, right? So this question asker is thinking about an estate plan, and his question is basically like he doesn't want his kids at the age of 18 to get a bunch of money or assets dumped on them, which sounds like a good problem to have if you're 18. But if you're the person leaving them those assets, that's a nightmare to think about your 18-year-old. No matter how responsible they are, you don't want, you know, $2 million in a house like dropped into your 18-year-old's lap without some kind of guidance or what have you, because 18-year-olds don't have a lot of experience and they make bad decisions sometimes. So.
Sometimes they do, man. Not always, but a lot of times they do. I just wanted to say, you know, we're doing some recording, and I got you on my screen. It's all I can see is you. Mm-hmm. And I like the angle of your camera better than mine, man. It makes your head look very important. And regal. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it looks big too, man. But like, I know that's just an optical illusion.
No, it's not.
I think it'd make a good statue, man. Like a big, just your head, not your body. Just like a full size statue of just your head.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
I also want you to set up my camera next time, because I'm not digging how my head looks. It looks too small. It looks like it's too dainty. But yours, solid as a rock.
Powerful.
Very powerful. Chiseled. Chiseled. We're talking about 18-year-olds in mansions. Isn't that what we were doing?
Well, I was going to tell you the story. You know, when I got to NC State, you know, I got to NC State as an 18-year-old, fresh out of high school. And I don't know if they can still do this. I hope they don't do this. But, you know, you basically were moving in, and at the bottom of my dorm, there were all these people set up like vendors. And so they, you know, I don't remember what they are, but I remember one of them was offering you credit cards.
That's a killer hustle, man.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, I had never had a credit card. You know, you know, this was back in the day. I did have a debit card, right? So I could go to an ATM machine, but back then you couldn't. It was just an ATM card, right?
Yeah.
Back then it wasn't. You probably don't remember those days.
Yeah, I do. Did they have a talk with you? Did they like sit you down, the college sit you down and talk to you about not ruining your credit?
No.
Barton College did that.
No, that's nice.
Ahead of the curve, baby. That's why it's the #1 learning institution in America for 200 years running.
What's the mascot over there?
It's a bulldog.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, not a normal bulldog either. A sturdy, amazing bulldog. I don't know exactly the breed, but by goodness.
No, man. So I was like, all right, I guess I could use a credit card. I'm a student, right? I don't,
sure.
and I was working in what have you.
It's free money, right? Basically.
So they approved me at this. This was, I guess the internet was just around. This was the beginning of the internet.
You had to dial into it though.
Yeah, it's this $25,000 credit limit. They're like,
Jeez.
like, here you go, Josh. Here's a credit card. $25,000.
They knew you were good for it. They knew you had it in you.
And I had that credit card for a long time, man.
Did you blow it out?
I didn't blow it out. I was very responsible. I was very responsible with it because I was scared of it. But anyway, 18-year-old Josh did not need a $25,000 line of credit.
18-year-old Josh is like 42-year-old anybody else, though, man. Like, you got a lot of maturity. So,
but I hope they still don't do that. I wonder if they do that now.
I would imagine they do. I would imagine they do.
Yeah, it depends on not at Barton College.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's only like 42 kids moving in, so I don't think you're gonna really kill the game there. But
no, an 18-year-old does not need that, and that again, and we kind of harp on this. This is something you can solve easily, meeting with your attorney, because you can create a trust, right? And God forbid something happens to me when my kids are younger. You can have all kinds of, we talk about different kinds of trust. There's all these different trusts you can have, but you can draft a trust that will take care of that. That will say, hey, if I pass away and my kid's 18, I don't want my kid, you can appoint a trustee, right? Your attorney, a friend, a spouse, professional, right? A banker, investment person,
anybody you want.
And you can say, hey, support my kid, make sure he's got health insurance, make sure he's got a place to live, pay his rent if that's something you can afford to do. But manage these assets for him, make sure he's got these things, pay his tuition, right? If you're, not everybody can set up this kind of trust, obviously, but you can, and then say, hey, give him this much when he's 25, give him this when he's 30, disperse it but you can do whatever you want to do, or you can keep it trust his entire life.
Yeah. You know what mine's going to say? My kid gets no money until he can dunk a basketball. He's got to be able to 360 dunk a basketball between the legs.
What if you got what if one of your kids grows up to be like 4'11"?
And then he's going to have to do a lot of plyometrics, leg exercises. They got those shoes. You remember the shoes? Where you platform, but the reverse platforms, they get your calves jacked.
Jump shoes.
Yeah. Point being, if the kid wants to eat and not starve, he's 360 dunking a basketball between his legs. That's it. There's no negotiation on that.
But yeah, there's all kinds of ways you can do it. There's all kinds of ways you can safeguard it. And some people have adult children who make bad decisions. So we're talking about an 18-year-old who may even make good decisions. You're just worried about it because they don't have the wisdom of age, and there's stuff they just haven't learned at that age and can't learn. But some people have adult children that they're concerned
there's some
about.
people, and there's just adult children who are idiots. I think it's fair to say there's some just dumb, poor decision making, moronic adults. But then there's also people who have like legitimate developmental disabilities, and that's a concern as well, right? Because you have a lot, some folks have adult children that they've taken care of, and that's a concern too. So then you get into the area where you start discussing special needs trust, and again, I think the point is that there's a vehicle for any type of situation like that you want to account for with proper estate planning.
And there's folks too who have adult children who maybe have married people. Like maybe they trust their adult children perfectly fine, but they have married, taken as a spouse someone that you don't trust as much, or somebody who has displayed bad. And there's ways to try to keep things not being marital property and trying to keep things where they only benefit your heir and not necessarily their spouse or someone else. So this is all something that can be done. This is all something that can be worked on. People do it every day. It just takes time and energy to get it set up.
We talk about trusts and wills and powers of attorney, and I mean it's like you said, Josh. It does take time, but so worth it to kind of sit down and map out how you want things to go. Especially, I mean, again, you think about what if scenarios, and if you pass away without one, it's going to be an issue for those that are left behind. So having that estate plan, having that things in writing, it's just a good way to go. All right, we are going to take a short break. We're going to have more questions coming up on the other side. Judica County Radio. Josh Whitaker, Joe Hamer, managing partners and practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. Of course, you can find them at Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, your law firm for life. Offices in Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and in Morehead City. If you've got a legal situation that you're facing, maybe you've got a question you need an answer to, you can always call Whitaker and Hamer, 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what that call's about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. And you can email your questions to the show, info@judicacounty.com.